Welcome to the Joe Show. As you see beside me, I'm joined with two amazing guests, the man of the hour, Phil Rich, and then the man I've called to be my co-host for these week's episodes, the Brian Alexander.
Pleasure to be here.
Hey, it's going to be a fun time, folks. We have a load of questions. We have lots of stuff we want to talk about here, so I'm going to go straight into our sponsors and kind of get those out of the way. But I want to talk about these sponsors because we have some great ones for this episode. So let's start right away. I would like to start with our first one, which is our show sponsor, which is Kayaks and More. Kayaks and More is a mom and pop shop located on Highway 59 in Bee Spring, Highway 259 in Bee Spring, excuse me. They can provide you with all your outdoor needs. They truly excel in kayaks, but they have some of their equipment being used worldwide at some of the best competitions in the world. That's what they'll be attending soon in Orlando. I got to talk to Kim and Tony. So an easy way to contact them, as you see, is 270-286-7001. Next up is our guys at CNA Plumbing. That is Craig Childress and Adam Coates. They are a local plumbing business located in Brownsville, Kentucky. They have a great group. They have a great group of guys, and they can cover all your plumbing needs at a very affordable price. So make sure to check out our guys at CNA Plumbing. Next up is Patton Funeral Home. Patton Funeral Home is a local funeral home business with locations in Cave City, Park City, and Brownsville. The phone number to contact them is 270-597-2136. Another person that is great to contact is Miss Andrea Brantley. Next up is Lake Forest Recruiting Firm and Braden's Blessings. Lake Forest offers a part-time or full-time permanent placement for psychiatrists and psych nurse practitioners. We work diligently to find our clients and candidates the perfect fit. And also, like I said with them, is Braden's Blessings. Braden's Blessings is a local charity by Allison and Jay Holland. They honor the life of Braden Combs, who tragically lost his life in 2019. Like I said, a great way to contact them is Jay or Allison Holland. They have done some great things in the community. Next up is our guy, Corey Colberth at Kentucky Farm Bureau. Contact insurance agent Corey Colberth for all your insurance-related needs. He is located at the KFB building in Brownsville, Kentucky. And as you can see, the best way to contact him is 270-597-2127. Next up is H&K Construction, Consulting and Management. We do custom homes, quality you deserve at a price you can afford. That is my guy, Alan Keppel. Make sure you check out them and their newest Facebook page. An easy way to contact them is 270-791-2288. A very good friend of Alan Keppel's is Shauna Grable. Shauna Grable Realtor, thank you for sponsoring. Shauna is a local realtor who is a part of the Grable Group in Keller Williams. Her office is located in the Keller Williams building across from the Green River Apartments. Her easiest way of contact is 270-246-1329. Coming down here at the close is Laser. Laser is an engraving service who can make and produce just about anything. They do excellent work on hats, which is personally my favorite thing they can make. They made me some at home, but they make some amazing batches for some people, especially Buttram Farms. Those were great. They can also make cutting boards, work on baseball gloves, and really so much more. Follow them on their Facebook page or contact them through Caleb Skaggs. And last but not least is Sander Radiators, #1, located in Bowling Green. They're an automotive and radiator repair service. Once again, contact them through 270-843-1772 or our local guy, Dusty Wilson. Folks, that is all of our sponsors for today's episode. We will let you guys see us again here. And we'll go ahead and get into this, man, with our guy, Phil Rich. Phil, how have you been?
Doing great. Been great. Had a few health problems along the line, but right now, as far as I know, I'm over those and are partially over them anyhow. I'm doing well.
So I told y'all about it. I posted on Facebook recently, kind of got the idea. I wanted to do this summer where we talked and interacted with some of the best athletes to ever play in Edmonson County. I said those that were important, they influenced people, and they were impactful. And you were probably the most listed name. All the things you did, you played baseball, track, football, basketball. You're part of the great 1976 state championship team. But how does that feel to you to know that you have such an impact on Edmonson County sports and so many people, kind of lift you up and praise you as one of the best people we've ever had?
I don't know about that. I mean, we've had if you get looking at the number of athletes we've had come from this county, we've had some pretty good athletes that come. You got Joseph Blanton, pro baseball player. You've got, of course, Brian here, college football quarterback. My nephew, Brian Browning, U of L quarterback. We've had some really, really good athletes come from here. I guess one of the reasons that people remember me is I think I've got this right. I think I'm the first football player in the county that was ever offered a Division I scholarship. Probably the first one, and that was offered a Division I scholarship at the University of Kentucky, and a few other places that offered me that. I chose to go to Western over those, closer to home, I guess. But yeah, there's been lots of great athletes come out of Edmonson County. If you just go back through the years, just not as many as some of the other schools that's got 5,000 students in them. We have 1,000 average probably most of the time in Bryan, not much more than that.
Let me just say this. This is a very modest guy. When I was a freshman in high school, it was a year that, and hopefully we'll touch on his teaching and coaching history. I know he was at a few places before he came back home here to Edmonson County. But when I was a freshman in high school, Coach Rich came back to the county. And I remember my dad telling me, you pay attention to everything he says and everything he does. My dad didn't know anything about football. I was a freshman that year and on the football team. And this guy was larger than life to a guy like me, because I've been a Dallas Cowboys fan all my life, and I knew he'd spent time with the Dallas Cowboys, and I knew he'd been part of that state championship team. And I knew he was just a mythical character to me. But when I got to know him, he was my freshman. He was my freshman biology teacher, and I still remember I tore the air bladder on my fish that we dissected that year, and he called me a guinea head for it. We'll have to talk about what a guinea head is a little later on. But, this guy is one of the most modest, down-to-earth people that you'll ever want to meet. He is the type of guy that he don't want to really talk about what the great accomplishments that he made. I mean, this guy has been at the pinnacle of football. He's been right there. But more so than anything else, he's such a good person. He's a good teacher. He was a great teacher. He was a great coach. And a lot of things that he taught us as a coach, and I'll talk about some of those later on, are things that maybe wasn't as much an X's and O's and a tactical thing, but the advice that he gave us. Because some of the advice that he gave me, I've never forgot. I can even tell you where I was at when he said it, because I was told to soak everything up that this man said. So I did. But even as much as anything else, he's a great dad. He's a great husband.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about how to be a dad from Phil Rich, because whatever Cody wanted to do, Phil was right in it. He was there. Didn't matter what else was going on. I learned that from him.
Yeah.
When my kids wanted to go fishing, if I had hay on the ground, needed to be baled, guess what? We went fishing.
Yeah.
And I don't regret it one bit. And I guarantee you he doesn't regret anything he did. So he's made a tremendous impact on my life. So
Fishing may not have been for Cody, it may have been for me. Yeah. I just took him along.
yeah.
Well, we had mentioned it. We have a variety of topics we can speak on. I know Brian has some things he wants to touch base with, and I do as well. But I think we got to go into it. The 1976 state championship team, you played with some great guys. I actually have the roster of the recent picture that you guys took at the 40th anniversary. You guys were with Jimmy Cole, Ricky Houchin, Kevin Clemens, yourself, Aaron Goad, Chester Bethel, Tim Ashley, Mark Kenyon, Jeff Duell, Larry Starnes. We can talk about all the success you guys had, obviously winning state. But what I want to talk to you about a little bit is talk about those guys. I would assume to you as like a family almost, those guys. Can you speak on those teammates and maybe even go individually on them?
Yeah, they were, our team was, I don't know really a good way to express it. It was just like we knew what we were going to do before we did it. As a junior high student, I was in the 8th grade at Carrock, and those other guys played at Brownsville. Aaron Gold played at Brownsville, Chester did, Kevin Clemens. So we had to play against them in the 7th and 8th grade. I played against them at Brownsville. And in Sunfish, we had 4 junior highs that time in Edmonson County. And I played against all of those starting, and Jeff Duell too. I played against all of those 5 guys in junior high. And me and Hoppy Decker, bring those Hoppy Decker and some of them that played against them. And we actually, the Carrock basketball team in the 8th grade actually won the county tournament. We used to have a county tournament with 4 teams. Sunfish, Sunfish had a school, Sunfish, and Lincoln had a school.
That was a big deal back then,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, the county tournament was something else,
Yes,
and
sir.
and we beat them. We beat all those other guys, so I always had bragging rights on them. I said, y'all might be pretty good, but y'all didn't win the county tournament in 8th grade. We did. So all the other guys on the team, I kind of had bragging rights over them from junior high. But all of them were not just good basketball players. All of them were great guys. You know, we never had. I can't remember any of us ever having a bad word with each other. You know, the whole time I played with those guys, I can't remember any negative feelings of who scored the points, who got the rebounds. We didn't really care. They didn't really care. We just wanted to win the games. Yeah, really didn't. You know, we had Kevin Flynn was a point guard, good point guard is in the state.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. I think back to the point guard at that time in the state that I'd rather have than Kevin. And of course I played the 5 guy inside, beating and banging and pushing people out of the way, and you know, and then you had Aaron Gold could play point guard. He could play forward. He could play any position on the floor. Chester Bethel was as good a shooter as there was in the state. Mark Kenyon was a heck of an athlete, and you know, so we had some really good athletes at that time that people wonder how we won it. Well, and we played together from freshman till senior year. We had a really good freshman, sophomore, and junior coach by the name of Dave Denton. I guess some people remember him that as a guy. Gary Key played for him. I remember Gary Key and Gary Merton, my brother Terry, and someone played for him. I played for him for 3 years, and so did all the other guys on the state tournament team. And as far as teaching you how to play the game offensively, he was amazing. He was a former college and pro basketball player, and I don't know how he ever got to Evanston County to coach, but he did. And he actually took us all one year on the trip on the bus down to Atlanta, underground Atlanta, and places we made money. He took us on a trip. He's always taking us somewhere. Take us to NBA games to see them, but have to give him part of the credit too with teaching us how to play the game. Yeah. Now when Bo come in, Coach Davenport come in that senior year, it was a lot different. But what he did, he made sure that everybody played the position they played and not try to take over themselves. He was instrumental in having everyone on the team. You got 5 players out there, okay? And each player has his job and his role, and he can score. He didn't care who scored. If you was open and you shoot it, it's fine. Now the difference with Denton played. He wanted us to play more of a pro game where you had 2 or 3 players, 2 players that scored the points, and the rest of them was out there to play defense and pass, and it's just hard to win big games unless you've got more than 2 players doing the scoring, or at least that's how I see it. They were really good. I mean, you can't take them away from Gary Key. Some of them players I played with, really, really great athletes. Just the difference was that we had 5 of those when I was a senior. So any of us on the team could score and defend and so forth.
Is it true, Coach, that during the summer that y'all would come over and play a night or 2 a week, and then have watermelon after the y'all play during the night? That night y'all eat watermelon after the practice.
You talking about under Denton?
Yeah.
Denton, we did some strange things. Okay. Practice would start like on Saturday.
Yes, tell us about
every Saturday.
Tell us about how long practices were.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
We'd always start practice at 9 o'clock on Saturday and get done at 2 o'clock.
Yes.
I mean, 3-hour practices were common. Okay? And even after school, 3-hour practices were pretty common. And then on the weekend, of course, he come from a pro basketball background, and they go and they live there from 8 o'clock in the morning. That's what I didn't realize when I went to the Cowboys, that I thought we'll be going to practice and then you go home like you do in college, And but you go in the morning at 7 o'clock and you get off that evening at 4 o'clock. It's just like a job. I thought, I don't know about this. This is a lot of time in football. Even though you're watching films after practice, then you had to go to the weight room, then you had another practice in the afternoon, then you had films and weight room again, and pros was 24/7.
Let me ask you a question back to the 76. You lose in the district finals. I know y'all had some sickness during that
Right, sure
time,
did.
but then you win the region. At what point? At what point did you guys start to think we can win this whole thing?
Well, me personally, and to some of the other players, after we got beat in the district, I seen how it really, how it devastated their coach. We really liked him, and then I seen, and of course, I'd known him from coaching at Clarkson and Litchfield and
Sure,
places, and
Uh-huh.
my brothers knew him. My brother Barry was on the board actually when they hired him to come in, and I don't know. What was your question again?
At what point did you guys start to believe in yourself that you knew you could win it all?
Well, we never did think about winning it all. After we got beat that first game of the region, I was telling you, we got beat in the district, the finals of the district actually. And after that was over, I seen them, and I just made it back to me, players, we're not losing anymore. Okay, it wasn't no strategy. They was going to have to haul us out on stretchers or before we was going to lose another game. And it wasn't just me; it was Gold and some of the others that have a really fond affection for all those guys because man, they gave everything they had. And after that district tournament, we got together and said we ain't losing no more.
So you guys beat, I believe it was Bowling Green High in the regional finals that night.
Yeah.
And then you go on, you play Betsy Lane in the early part of the first round, and then you got some extra rest.
Yeah, I got a day off.
Yeah, and then who'd you play in the second round? Was it Harrison County that you played the second round?
Yeah.
And then Shelby County in the semifinals, and then
Right.
Christian County in the finals.
That's it. Yeah.
I know that the Shelby County game in the semifinals that morning was probably the closest game you guys played. Tell us a little bit about what you remember about that.
Well, wound up beating them 1 point? Was that
Yes.
what it was?
Yes.
63, 62, or something like that?
Yes.
Well, to be honest with you, we just didn't miss shots,
Yes.
and we played defense. I mean, we played zone most of the time against them, and back then they didn't have a 3-point line.
Yeah.
Or at least if they do, I don't recall it. Didn't think they did. I don't remember in high school.
No, they didn't have it.
No, I don't think that was introduced.
They didn't come in until I was a
88 or
senior in high
85.
school.
Yeah, that was
they
a lot.
didn't have it, and of course they would shoot outside and we'd shoot inside.
Yeah.
So we had a lot better percentage shooting the ball. That's how we won state tournament. We shot like 60-something% for the tournament.
Yes.
60-something%. You're not going to get beat. If you get beat shooting 60-something% in a basketball game, something's wrong.
Yeah.
But in one game, I shot 100%.
Yeah.
Had 25 points maybe.
Yeah. I really wish that Shelby County game was on YouTube like the championship game was, but we've not been able. I know Mr. Carnes, J.D. Carnes down here has hunted high and low trying to get a
Yeah, I'd like to
copy
see
of
that one too.
Yeah, but of course the championship game is on there, and then Christian County they tried to press you guys,
Yeah, exactly.
and that didn't work out well for
We
them.
had too many goals. See, gold was the key to people trying to press us because you had Kevin and Chester, which you couldn't tell if they were left or right-handed back then.
Yeah.
And that was pretty good because the way they handled the basketball, and then you put Gold in the mix, and Gold could play point guard any team in the state.
Uh-huh.
And then me and Henyon handled the ball decently. We weren't we weren't point guards, but Gold was the key. They tried to press us, and then he come into play, and him 6'4", handle the ball and see over top of them, make the passes. We actually had 3 point guards could have played. So it was I don't know. I've heard people say that it just fell in place. It didn't just fall in place. We had some players that could play. Anybody on our team could have scored 20-something points a game, 30-something points a game. If they just shot that many shots, it didn't work that way. We didn't care who scored points. As a matter of fact, when the game was over, nobody on the team had any idea who scored points. We just looked at the score at the end. And really good bunch of guys to work with because not 1 minute do I ever remember. Now they might tell you a different story in practice of me running over them or something like that or something. But as far as having issues with each other, no. We weren't best friends. We didn't hang around after school. We did none of that. But we were still all had a really good respect for each other because we played with or against each other since 7th grade. all of those guys that played. I played against them, and I knew how good they were, and I played with them for 4 years. So you're talking about 6 years of basketball playing together with all of us.
I have one more question, Joe, and then I'll
Go
hush for a minute. Tell us, okay, so we go to Louisville. You're up there the whole time. You didn't come home, I don't guess, in
No.
between games.
No,
You stayed
no,
up there in the
stayed.
hotel. And then you win the state championship. And after you win the state championship, y'all spent the night that night. Tell me about the celebration. Tell me about the celebrations after you come home. I know people started meeting you when you got off the I-65 up here by Mammoth Cave National Park.
Yeah.
Talk about that. for me.
Yeah, we were. I mean, after the final game, we won the state tournament. I think we really didn't. We were just kind of tired. I mean, it wears you out. That many games in a row
Right.
against the people we had to play against and the effort you got to put out. That night, nothing major. Went back to got something to eat. Went back to the motel and just sat around, and it was really quiet and calm. You know, you think you'll hear people celebrating and that, but everybody on the team was just kind of. We just won the state tournament.
Yeah.
That's not. It can't be right.
Yeah.
You know, and then the next day coming home on the bus, it was still kind of solemn on the bus. Everybody was just seemed like we were just totally relaxed because it was over with. We won the state tournament. Wasn't nothing else to do. We were done. All we had to do was just relax and drive home. Of course, we wasn't really expecting anything. And then as we got down the interstate, we looked. There were people lined up car after car, all the way from Cave City, even for miles before you get to Cave City, up by the rest stop area up there on 65, and following us in front of us, and we didn't know what was going on. We got to the gym, and the whole gym was full.
Yes, sir.
And we all walked in, and everybody clapping, and people talking, had the speeches going on and stuff, which was really good for the county. It wasn't just us that won it. It was the county that won it, basically. And it must be pretty difficult to do because we don't have a team that went to the state tournament before then. We ain't had one that's been there since.
That's right. No, I got to tell you this.
So we wasn't even thinking about that, how difficult it was going to be.
Yeah.
We didn't even think about winning it, never even entered our mind. I mean,
Because you had played on some teams that talent-wise
we had some
were as
teams.
good or better your sophomore and junior year. From a talent standpoint, were just as good or better than the team that won the state tournament. It just the stars aligned, didn't they?
Well,
And
we
the coaching
probably,
change probably too.
well, we probably had, of course, Gary King, number one scorer in the state.
Yeah.
Gary Murphy was really good too. But we had the difference was, I think probably on that team that if we played under the same coach, we probably had one of us would have been the leading scorer in the state.
Yeah.
Because it was a different kind of
Sure,
basketball.
sure.
I remember we did practice, and I think I got mad at Davenport about something over in the regional tournament we was practicing, and I can't forget who was guarding me. We were doing a little half court running plays and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and of course he was wanting to run the plays over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Just keep running through them to get used to them. Well, they bring in, they bring one into me, and I do some kind of move on. I can't remember who's guarding me. Go in, lay it up, score.
Yeah.
One or two of them, they didn't like that either. And went in and they couldn't guard me. Of course, we got rid of our first six.
Yeah.
They were younger.
Yeah.
And he said, "You gonna shoot them all, or what are you gonna do?" And I got mad at him on that deal a little bit. Of course, I said, "Well, they can't stop me." Because he changed it around a little bit.
Yeah.
And I finally got over it. And yeah.
I don't remember exactly how much time had passed from actually winning the state tournament. It's probably the next week. But I was in first grade then. And I went to school at Brownsville across the street. But I remember every kid in our school district, they bused them to the high school gym, and we had a pep rally
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
gym. And I remember
Yeah,
I was sitting there, crisscross applesauce on the floor, about this tall, and that was one of the biggest crowds I'd ever been around. Of course, my dad had let me go to the semifinals, but he wouldn't let me go to the finals because he was going to enjoy it with these guys. He coached some of them in junior high and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, but and then I have to tell this story. Mr. Roy James was the superintendent.
Yeah.
That year when we won the state tournament, and he told me the story, and I don't know why it ever came up, but he said the week before school was out, his senior year, the Board of Education was right down there by where Life Skills is at now.
Yeah.
And he walked out the back door of the board office, and it sounded like the roof was about to come off that gym up there. And he went up there and opened the door, and they was just in there having a pep rally.
Yeah.
They had pep rallies the rest of the year, I
Yeah.
think. Adam, it was a big celebration. But I'll hush. Joe, you take over. for a
Yeah,
while.
that was a big time for the county to,
Yeah.
I mean, nobody ever had any inclination that we were going to win state tournament.
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, you didn't even think that way. Back then, because nobody never even been.
Yeah.
To get out of our region was tough.
Yeah.
When we were in that Bowling Green region, the Owensboro region was tough too, but put us in that Bowling Green region with, everybody knows what Paris One East used to have with all the Brits, and they had 2 Brits that year.
Yeah.
And then
Of course, you played 2 years in the third region, where we're at now,
Right.
what Joe knows, and then you played 2 years in the fourth region. Your
Right.
junior and senior year, we went to the fourth region,
Right.
which is what I played in when I played. What I
Right.
always knew.
And then you had some really good schools. I mean, you talk about what Bowling Green, Franklin, Warren East, all
Yeah.
the Bowling Green schools, plus
Yeah.
the Glasgow surrounding schools coming
Yeah.
up. And probably some of the toughest games we had were in the region.
Yeah.
I mean, we were used to, because I played against Bowling Green, they had Holland and some of the other big guys in there. And Franklin did too. Donnie Evans was the guy
Yeah.
who played for Franklin. I played against him football. And every time I moved down there, he was pushing and poking. And I think they finally took him out after I elbowed him in the head 2 or 3 times. They finally took him out of the game. And he remembered it when I was playing football with Webster. He still remembered the game when we beat them down there. But they had some really good teams. What it was, they had some big kids. There was a lot of beating and banging, and they let you play then. I mean, the
Yeah.
reason, I was afraid they was going to not let us play when we got down there, because I had to move around in there a little bit and bang against people to get open and things of that nature. I didn't have a lot of moves. So,
Yeah.
But they didn't. They let us play. And then the problem with that, we went to the state tournament. In the first game of the state tournament, they called touch fouls. And I got in foul trouble. I don't know. I had 8 points maybe the first
Yeah.
game. That's
A little
where
bit
Joe,
different up
some
there,
of them
wasn't
took over. Yeah, and they wouldn't had to make a complete adjustment because, I couldn't move people out of the way like I did in the region. In the region, they let us bang.
Yeah.
I liked that. That was my kind. I didn't play that kind of basketball. I played that kind. I wasn't a finesse guy by no means. And then we got to the state tournament, man. We had to adjust the whole way we played the game.
Yeah. You guys, I was looking through it actually. I was trying to see some of the teams y'all beat in the region. You guys beat Franklin Simpson by 1,
Yes.
and then you rolled by Bowling Green. It said even after that, one thing that was big is Jeff Duell said that Male, which had Daryl Griffith, who went on to be an elite level basketball player in the NBA, and they had Bobby Turner, they had lost to Ballard. And apparently everybody, y'all kind of heard that, and you were like, well, maybe we have a chance. It says you guys arrived in Louisville as underdogs. But Ballard, whose lineup had, guys like Jeff Lamp and Lee Raker, they went on to win the next year. They lost to Henry Clay in the quarterfinals, and Christian County beat Shawnee and future LSU star Rudy Macklin. It said you guys beat Betsy Lane in the first round. And in the second round, you guys will play Harrison County, but you guys still really weren't thinking about the trophy winning at all. But this says this is what Duell said. He said, after our game on Friday, our principal was in the locker room, and he came out and said, gosh, you all can really win this thing. Did that happen?
Yeah. Mr. Johnny P. Benson from principal, he come in and said, guys, y'all can win this thing. Well, I kind of thought, I never even thought about it till Lynn winning it. And I thought, well, I'm not going to get beat. They're going to have to haul me out of here before we get beat. So, sure did come in and said that. And we hadn't even, still even after that, we did. It's like we weren't even thinking about winning the state tournament.
Yeah.
That's something that you just dream about that you don't think is ever going to happen. Yeah. And so we never really even thought about winning. We just went there and played a game, and we didn't know who we played next. He wouldn't let us stay and watch. The coach took us out of there. We didn't get to stay and watch the game, so he took us back to the motel, got us away from everybody.
Yeah.
So, and of course, we didn't know what was going on with the games, who was winning, who was supposed to win. I didn't know who them players were. I didn't know Raker and Lamp. Those 2 top players come from the state of Kentucky on the other team, and in Christian County, Mike Reese, I don't know who Mike Reese was in Parker. I didn't know many of them. To me, I just seen them out there, and I know I bigger than they was, and so I knew wasn't worried about them. But I played football Western, and Mike Reese played basketball.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, we ate in the same cafeteria, the athletic cafeteria that we had for the athletes on scholarship. And of course, Mike Reese is the one we beat down, him and Parker. And every once in a while, me and him be eating. Of course, I never did talk to him, but every once in a while, he'd kind of be across the table from me, and he'd look up, and I'd give him that number one. He'd shake his head. Honestly, he's a great guy. He was looking. He was a heck of an athlete.
Yes, he was. I remember when he played down there.
Yeah, he would kind of look up, me and him would kind of meet eyes a little bit, because he knew I was. He knew we'd been in the state time. And he'd look at me every once in a while, and I'd give him that number one. He'd shake his head, look down, grin.
Well, you guys are still considered to a lot of people, the greatest story in the Hoops Fest, the Sweet 16. And it says here, the Sweet 16 is still the greatest show on hoops, which I got to go this past year. I still agree with that.
Yeah.
But they consider you guys, the greatest champion. It's the best storyline. I was looking, you had 20 points in the championship game. Mark Kenyon had 25, and Mr. Goat had 11 points and 10 rebounds. I have to ask this. Where did the nickname The Mountain come from? How did you get that? What's the origin story?
The coach gave it to me. They interviewed him. Of course, the media drew to him like maggots or something. I guess that's not very good analogy, but the media just flocked to him because he was just blunt, tell them and yell at them, and just he was just different. Okay, so the media just flocked to him, and after the second game, who was the second game he played?
Harrison County.
Harrison County. Yeah. Maybe it was, I don't know, one of the games. Anyhow, they interviewed the coaches after the games, and they asked him, how did you beat them? He said, they were one of the top-rated teams in the state. He said, how did you beat them? He said, well, we took it to the mountain.
Yeah.
So that's where that comes from. I don't remember what game that was, but I remember him telling the media that's where that came from.
Coach Davenport he would have made a heck of a car salesman.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the type of guy. I have to tell this on him, and I don't know that coach has ever heard this. My dad went to college in Louisiana right out of high school and got homesick. Pretty much, I think, hitchhiked his way back to Brownsville.
Yeah.
And Coach Davenport, who was at Clarkson, coach at Clarkson High School before Grayson County Consolidated, my dad had played against him, and he called when he found out my dad had quit and come home. He called Campbellsville and helped. He was pretty instrumental in my dad getting to go on and go to college.
Yeah.
And I don't know where my dad would have been if it hadn't been for people like Coach Davenport.
Yeah.
But Coach Davenport never let my dad forget that. I remember one time we were at a funeral home one time, and Coach Davenport comes in and shakes my dad's hand and said, awful proud of you. He said, don't know if you'd ever made it if I hadn't helped you. Sounds just like him, doesn't it?
Sounds just like him.
Yeah.
He was straight freight.
Yes, sir, he was.
He was straight freight. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
Exactly.
And there's no reason to mess up.
Yes, sir.
But he was that way teaching and also.
Well, I want to transition a little more into your future after that. One last thing I want to touch on is you texted me about this, and I've been interested. Talk to me about the baseball game against Grayson County where you pitched.
Yeah, Grayson County's always had a great baseball team. Don Lee and them coaching them up there. Of course, they've had them league guys coach them. They're always good and still good. But they beat us, I think. We played them twice that year, and I think they beat us. It was a district tournament. They beat us 10 runs like twice. Yeah. But Mr. K. Banner, the baseball coach, never let me pitch against them. And of course, I didn't pitch against anybody in the district that I can remember or the region that year. He had another 2 or 3 people to pitch some. And come up the first game of the district tournament, we were ranked last out of 4 teams. So we played the number 1 team, which was Grayson. And they had lost, I don't know if they'd lost a game that year. They had a heck of a baseball team. They may have been undefeated, or may have lost 1 game in the tournament, Louisville or something like that. But they were really, really good. And they were ranked like top 2 or 3 in the state of Kentucky in baseball. And we played them, and K. Don came to me, Mr. Banner came to me and said, okay, you're going to pitch today. I'm going to pitch. I ain't hardly pitched any all year if you're going to let me pitch. Of course, I pitched in Little League and all that stuff, and I pitched some before that, but they said, "You're going to pitch today." I said, "Okay, hope my arm don't hurt." My arm used to hurt a lot of times pitching, but I didn't know what. Now, if I could go back and do it now, I know why it was and what I was doing wrong. But at the time, I didn't. But anyhow, he put me in. I started warming up. My arm felt good, wasn't hurting, and I could throw. I had some pretty good speed and had some jump too. And it just happened that day that my arm wasn't bothering me, and it felt really good. And I could seem like I could just throw the ball anywhere I wanted to. I could throw it at him and break it over the plate, and they'd step back and then swing at it. And I had a really good breaking ball. It broke late, instead of just a roundhouse. It would break late at the plate and come over the plate, and then they swing and break outside on them. I pitched against them that day, and we wind up beating them in the first game of district tournament, and we were supposed to get beat. I don't know how many runs that game, but anyway, wasn't no way anybody was picking us to win. But the difference was when I was warming up on the mound. It's kind of funny how you remember this stuff. But I remember I was warming up on the mound, and I could see the players come out of the dugout and look. Of course, the big difference between me pitching and Kevin Hayes, which not near 6'5" like me, and they see me on the mound, and they was all looking. I'm still talking to each other and looking and poking this one and looking. Of course, they knew I was from football. I used to run over them in football a little bit. And we beat them in basketball twice that year. And they were looking, and they didn't know I pitched at all. And we wound up beating them first game district tournament and went on the district that year. And put them out of it. That's my biggest deal in baseball.
Claim fame right there, isn't it?
Yeah, beating Don. I used to ride horses with his brother Bill Lee and them all the time. And mess around with Brian's kinfolk were married and run around with them. They're good people. And I went to a clinic in Ohio, horse training clinic with Bill. Me and Bill stayed in the same room. We talked basketball and baseball all night long. I don't think I got any sleep that night.
I got a question for you. Now you played at the pinnacle of football, but you never played Little League, did you?
Football. Didn't have a Little League.
Did you have junior high football?
No.
I didn't think so. You never played football until you got in high school.
No. I played high school in 8th grade.
Okay.
Now, see, you can't do that. You can't do that now. Back when I played, I went to my mom and them picked me up. My dad, of course, he worked on that. But he had my mom and my sister Linda and them. Somebody would pick me up at Carroll and take me to Brownsville after school practice.
Sure.
And of course, golly, that about ended my football career. Because, that was back in the day where you do anything you want to, and they played this game called Bull in the Ring, which is illegal now. They won't let them do it. And of course, the coach was beating, bang, and he'd shoot you come through, and somebody at the other end knocking you back through the shoot and come out. That's wonder we didn't get hurt more than we did. And a bowling ring, you get in a circle, and you get one guy in the middle, and all of a sudden he just points at somebody in the circle, and they go in and try to run over him in the middle. They may hit him in the back, the side, because you don't know where it's coming from. And,
you don't learn a whole lot from that.
No, you learn that you can get hurt. What you learn from it. It's illegal to do that anymore.
If you're with me, Brian, I'm ready to transition kind of into Western stages.
Yes, sir.
So you go on to play at Western at football. Can you tell me about some of your favorite memories playing at Western?
My favorite, well, I don't know. Probably my freshman year was pretty tough because, I'd never been in the weight room. Yeah. And I went down and started in the weight room, and you come out with seniors that bench 400 pounds, and you get on there and you bench them 2 1/4 if you're doing that much. Yeah. You think, golly. But after you get to practicing with them, you realize that strength doesn't make you a lot better football player. It just keeps you from getting hurt a lot. So then I had to live in the weight room for a couple of years, and then practice on up through there. And then when I was a senior, my last year, the thing that I like most about playing and that I remember the most, I guess that it gives me some good feeling about accomplishing something was like the senior year. Every game, you got the hardest hit award. then we'd have meetings. We'd have meetings on Sunday night after games on Saturday, and they gave away awards for that previous game. They graded the films and they gave away awards for that particular game. And out of like 11 games, I got like 9 hardest hit awards for the games. Yeah. So as an offensive lineman, which that doesn't happen much. But
Pulling
I
and
got where I was
knocking
looking.
somebody into the sideline.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for every game. So, but sometimes I had a lot more than just one that I could have got it for.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that was my number one thing. And of course, it was. I was a little different when I was playing out there too, getting a different state of mind, and you run over this one and run over that one, and it's a totally different state of mind once the game starts.
Who would you say? Do you have any? You remember any of like the best athletes or guys you matched up against? Or well, actually, I won't even do that. Who was some of the best guys you played with?
Talking about football,
Yes,
or,
at Western football at Western.
probably right off the start, I guess I would have to say Big Dave Carter. Big Dave Carter was a center when I went as a freshman. And Dave and Chip Carter and some of them older guys that were there, I run around with them a whole lot. Me as a freshman get to hang around with them guys. Yeah, Dave Carter's All-American. He went on to play with Houston for years and retired out of pro football with the Houston Oilers center. And Keith Tandy out of Hoptown. We had Western had a lot of football players that could play Division I easily, and they chose to come there. I was one of them. I was offered several Division I football scholarships. Of course, I was 6'4", 6'5", 235 pounds, and played linebacker and fullback. So a lot of the other schools were after me to play for fullback and to play linebacker. Actually, that was what they've been recruited for. But I happened to go to Western, and Western had about 5 All-American linebackers that was already there. So I figured if I'm going to get a play here very soon, I'm going to have to switch positions. So I switched to tight end and played tight end for a while until season started. And then I progressed for a couple of games, and the coach was they didn't put me in as a freshman. And later on, I found out they were wanting to redshirt me because they had a couple of tight ends. They knew we wasn't going to win much that year because they didn't have a really good team that year. They graduated about. The year before I got there, I think they won the national championship or come in second, and they graduated about 15 seniors that all started. So they was rebuilding that year. So they wanted to know if I would be interested in them redshirting me when we get caught up. And of course, at first I didn't really want to do it, but after I thought about it and seen that I was behind a lot of the other players as far as the weight room and my knowledge of the positions I was playing. In high school, they gave me the ball and I run over people. Or put me at linebacker and say, tackle the guy who's got the ball. Yeah. That's what I did. But down there, everything is choreographed. You take the step left and do 2 to the right, and Brian knows he plays. Yeah. It's way different than what I played in high school because you got techniques and different blocking schemes that you got to do on every play, depending on the linebacker. If the linebacker's 1 foot on this side, you do something different than you do if he's a foot to the left. So it was really technical. And then you get up in the pro level, it's even more technical than that. Yeah.
I want to ask him in just a minute to talk about his position coach and Coach Fikes there at Western. But one story I have to tell, when I first came back to Evanston County, the principal that hired me to come back to Evanston County was Charlie Hopkins, who was his high school football coach. And Coach Hopkins and I, we had to go on a trip one time to Frankfurt for a meeting. We talked a lot going back and forth about the guys that he coached in football. He was his football coach. And he told me that one time he really gave him a hard time and said, "You're not hitting anybody. You're not hitting anybody during the game." And he went back and watched the film. And the reason he wasn't hitting anybody, people were running away from him. Yeah. They were running to get away from him so he couldn't hit them. He was chasing them down, trying to hit them, but they wouldn't let him. They were running faster to get away from him. Yeah. So, Coach, tell me a little bit about Coach Fikes and your position coach there while you were at Western.
Yeah, Coach Gilbert was not only a great coach, but, I mean, you won't find anybody in the world that would ever say a word about Coach Gilbert. You wouldn't find a better guy. Now, he would get on your butt, get on me some, but you knew that he was just coaching. And then after it's over with, he'd be grinning, laughing, and and when practice was over, when it was practice, it was football. When it was over, it wasn't. You know, it
Gotcha.
wasn't like he would, you've done something wrong in practice and he would hold a grudge for you for 3 days. He didn't do that.
Yeah.
He'd show you how to correct it and get on you pretty rough, and then turn around after practice was over, it's over. And after the games were over, it was over. He never, he didn't keep harping on and on and on. And of course, Coach Fox, when you get in the college level, you know, the head coach, you don't have a lot of conversation with them.
Uh-huh.
I remember he called me into his office one time, like toward the end of my freshman year. Okay. Well, maybe it was before Christmas or something. We had to weigh in every day. Okay, practice. You go in, you weigh in before and after, and they got a chart where they read it and see what you're doing. And in my chart, I went from about 235 down to 215, or under 220. And he seen that and he called me in one day, and he just couldn't understand what I was doing. Well, of course, me being new, I wasn't gonna tell him the truth. I wasn't gonna tell him the truth. He took the country boy to the city. I was out running around at night and stuff, running around way too much.
Yeah.
They had dances and JC Pavilion, they had stuff going on all the time, and I've never been to none of that stuff. So after we got through football practice, a lot of times in the afternoons and at evening, some of the guys would head out somewhere doing something, probably something we wasn't supposed to be doing. But I lost a bunch of weight, and that weighing, Coach Fox, that's the only time he's ever called me into his office, want to know what was going on, what was happening to me.
Yeah.
And of course, I told him I just wasn't eating much, so he put me on some kind of eating program. Well, what happened is I straightened up. I didn't want to lose my scholarship.
Yes, sir.
I couldn't pay for it myself.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'd never been to anything like that. You know?
Yeah.
I didn't even been to West.
Now, what did you weigh at the end of your senior year, Coach?
Probably, I don't know, 290.
And ran what? The 44.6?
Wasn't that fast. That's good. If I'd run that fast, I've been playing fullback in the NFL. Yeah. I don't know, probably 4'8", something like that.
But I know you were I've heard people tell, of course, I wasn't around, I was just a kid, but I've heard like Coach Starnes talk about how dedicated you became in the weight room. And I've heard you tell us, you know, you can make yourself faster. You can make yourself, there's ways that you can train your body to be faster. And you talked to us about that when we played.
You have to be dedicated to do that.
Yeah.
You know, while everybody else out running around playing and other stuff, you got to be working on you.
Yes, sir.
And it took me a while to figure that out because, you know, in high school, like I said, we had no weight room. I went from one sport to another, so I never had any time to get out and work on improving myself. I did do a lot of running and stuff, and you know, I'd run back through the farm, through the hills, different places, but didn't have any weights. And as far as working on your body and working on your techniques, and I never did that. Only time we done any baseball or football was at practice.
Sure.
You know, and after practice was over, you were done. And you know, didn't have weight programs or things like that going on. Of course, didn't have the place. And back then, there was a lot of schools that didn't have it. When we started out football at Emerson County playing on the baseball field.
I remember that.
So, I mean, we've come a long way since then. It's amazing the difference when you go over and look at the football field. We've got that people like you, the superintendents, and the board and stuff that have allowed them to build and fix and do anything.
Yeah.
But we didn't. We dressed in the dungeon, we called it, at the old junior high building down in the bottom of it. Come out and practice there on it. You know, it was a baseball field, football field. We practiced on. They'd mark it off, and part of it was dirt, and part of it was grass. Mm-hmm. And you know, that's where we played at also. So, you know, but like I said, it's gotten better and better and better and better. And you know, Evanston's got a good program. There is any around now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say anything negative about our programs we have going. They've got good coaches, and Coach Brian is a big athlete supporter and coach and done all that too. And you know, it makes a difference when your school administrators and people like that, you know, you want your students to be good athletes and good sports. improves your whole school morale.
Yes, sir.
You know, I can imagine when we were going to state tournament after we won the region, how the school morale was. I mean, nobody was frowning, everybody was grinning,
Yeah,
teachers
yeah.
were happy. It was,
Yeah.
it just improves your whole school morale when you've got good sports teams. You know, it's like talking about Bowling Green High. What's the first thing you think about your Bowling Green High? Their athletic program.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you don't know about all the good academic stuff they got.
Yeah.
My son worked there for a while. They're really good academic stuff, and a lot of the other schools do too. But usually, the number one thing you do, well, they got some good basketball teams up there. Well, you got a good football team. It ain't like they put a lot of people in the medical field over there. You know.
I got another question for you. I'm sorry, John.
No,
I'm not
you're
trying
good.
to
Keep
dominate
going,
here, but you graduate from Evans County High School in 1976. The next fall, you're sitting in classes at Western Kentucky University. How prepared were you academically for college coursework?
Really, really well.
Good.
I'll have to give a lot of credit to some of my teachers I had. Miss Sturgeon was really good. We had to do, of course, at Western, when you go to college, they want, back then, I guess it's still the same, but they want you to write research papers and all them papers. And,
yes.
And the thing about it, I remember how to do a 5-paragraph essay that we had to write in English 101 or something.
Yeah.
And I knew how to do that from high school because I had some really good teachers that helped us with that. And,
I was the same way.
Yeah, the teachers I had at Edison County when I went to college had me well prepared. My son, the teachers from high school that he had, he went to college in 4.0 student. He's almost 4.0, and went to med school for 2 or 3 weeks and hated it. Come back, but just to get in med school, you got to know your stuff to pass that MCAT test. And so his teachers, I had to give them a lot of credit. They were really good. They would put in extra work with him. And of course, some of them are not there anymore. Like Mr. Bean was wonderful. Yeah. And I mean, if you took his classes and you done well, you were well prepared.
Yeah.
And the teachers that I had, prepared me really well for college, and I really had no issues in it when I went there. And with any of my classes, it just that amount of question putting in the time and studying. And me and language arts are not the same field usually. I got a lot better. There in high school. It really helped. But that was the classes that I was worried about when I went to college because I knew you had to do lots of writing, and I wasn't much of a writer. But I learned to be a lot better at it in high school.
Like you majored in biology, correct? Yeah.
Well, my minor in biology.
Okay.
My major is health and safety, minor in biology.
Okay.
And then come out and you can teach biology to that. That's what I want to do. Yeah, I taught that when I come out. And then after that, went and got my clinical certification and so forth.
Yep.
I want to transition again, like we kind of went to Western. I want to go into the NFL aspect. So now when someone goes to the NFL, they're usually the big draft night, the 7-round draft, or behind the scenes they get a contract, an undrafted rookie. How did the signing process go, getting picked up by the team? How did that go for you?
Well, they still had the draft when it went through. Of course, they only had like 7 rounds that year, maybe. I mean, you're talking about all the Division I schools in the United States that are out there, and only so many of them get to be, in first round draft choice, second round, up to the 7th round, like draft choice, and then the rest of the people they sign as free agents. So, I watched some of the scouts have been in at Western meeting with me and some of the other players. They've been there meeting with us and took us out to dinner and things of that nature, and talking to us about they were going to try to sign us to play there. And it went through all the first round draft choice, and I thought sure after talking to one of the scouts that I was going to be taken in the first round, first 7 rounds, and come to find out I wasn't, and neither was Pete. I don't think Pete was. Yeah. And I thought, well, I don't know what's going on. But as soon as it was over, I got a phone call, and then they came in and met with me, and I had offered some different places to go play as a free agent. So I had a few different pro teams that offered me a free agent contract, they call it. And of course, nothing is for sure you're going to be there. You got to make the team. And after that, I Cowboys called. Uh-oh. Cowboys. I thought I was a cowboy anyhow. I had horses and that just
Yes,
fit
sir.
right in. Because that's who I watched on Sunday also. And I knew all the players. I didn't know in person, but I seen them on TV.
Sure.
So I said, yeah, that's where I'm going to go. I signed a free agent deal with them and went to mini camp. They have a mini camp and come in for about a week in Dallas and then come back and then get ready to go into the main training camp that summer. So I went into training camp and the rookies are there for a couple of weeks or a month or something before the veterans come in. And of course they weed a lot of rookies out right there during that time. And it went through. Of course I was still there. I seen some guys from Alabama and Auburn and some of the big schools that, when I was in high school, couldn't even had no idea which direction they were. But then I seen a lot of them guys going to get cut. And by the time the veterans come back in, they had it down to where they were just very few rookies there, and I was one of the rookies that was there. Offensive, I was offensive guard, playing offensive guard, but I'm gonna play tackle or wrestling, and they needed a guard, one guard, two guard, I don't know. But anyhow, they, everything was going well. We had inter-squad scrimmages. We scrimmaged in Dallas, California. That's where training camp was at. We had a scrimmage one night when all the town people come in and watch. I done well on it, and then we were scrimmaging in San Diego. We went to San Diego and they go and they scrimmage each other, like preseason. We were scrimmaging in San Diego, and then this guy took an outside turn on me, and I pushed off my right leg and fouled something off. And I didn't know what it was, but then I tried to put weight on that leg, and I couldn't put weight on my leg again. Come to find out, I pulled one of my groin muscle, a groin ligament or whatever. I pulled that, and then we got back to Thousand Oaks where training camp was at, and I was all around and eating dinner one afternoon with Tony Dorsett and some of the other veterans. Dorsett talking, he said, "You're gonna make this team, you can't be hurt." He said they cut it down that year to the minimum number they'd ever done before. And like I said, they was 40. I don't know. They were more veterans coming back than they were going to keep. Then they still had the rookies.
Yeah.
But I was still there with them, and of course I went and they knew I heard it, so I went for about a week and watched them practice. We standing up on the sideline, I couldn't handle it. They were practicing and getting ready. But if I knew what I know now, I would have done it a whole lot different. But what I went and told them that my going was well. I'm ready to play. I can go back to practice. Of course I couldn't. You can't go with something hurt at that level.
No.
Because you blink your eyes and that guy's gone. And if you're trying to pass block, so I went back that first morning at morning practice, and of course we done some one-on-one drills and stuff, and I couldn't push off that leg, and they seen it. So I signed a waiver saying I was okay to come back to practice, that I was well. And as soon as they seen that, they didn't have time. They was fixing to break camp that next week. Camp was going to break. They were going back to Dallas and had to have their team picked. And what I did, of course, I wanted to play. I was a kid. I was an older kid, but still, I'm playing football. I wanted to play. And if I'd been smart enough and told them that I was really still hurt, I'd have been on the injured reserve, and I'd been there all year, and I'd had a chance for my leg to heal and work that, because I could play at that level. I was kind of apprehensive when I first went there. I watched them on TV. You're seeing these people, Tom Jones, and Harvey Martin, Randy White, that's one of the strongest guys in the NFL was at the time, and Tony Dorsett, the running backs, and Randy White, the quarterbacks, and you see them play on TV every Sunday, and then here you are from Edison County, and you can go out there and you're blocking for Danny White, and you're blocking Randy White, and Tall Jones, and practice, and you know, it's kind of surreal to not really out here doing this. But what I done, I was just way too gung ho. I should have stayed hurt, which I was. Should have stayed hurt. That way they breaking camp next week. They had to catch me on the injured reserve, and so I got well. Then I could come back.
Yeah.
And but I didn't. I was going to play. I was just too gung ho about it. And, then I come back. So I come back home after they cut me from me telling them I could play. And of course, that one practice they seen I could. But they got to get the squad down to, you know, if I'd been a first round draft choice or something like that, then they'd kept me. But I don't know if they would have not. I roomed actually with the first round draft choice on it, and I never did see him do play.
Really?
Yeah. And I watched him that year, and I didn't see him play. And he was on the team on sidelines, but after that, I didn't see him. So I guess they got rid of him next year or something. But then they went to the Jets.
Mhm.
The Jets signed me the next year as a free agent. Of course, my leg wasn't really healed up yet. Anyhow, you know, I don't know. I didn't really kind of got disheartened because that's what we play. I don't play the Cowboys. You know, that was everybody's that was our team.
Yeah.
I went to the Jets, but the Jets was good too. I had Gaston, take over some of them up there at the time. Really good lineman, and went up there and stayed for, you know, went through all mini camp and all the rookies were there, and then the veterans come in, practice with them, was doing fine, any issues, and I just, you know, one day we had the evening off for practice, I went back to the dorm place where we were staying and looked around and didn't know where to go. What do I do here? Where do I go? And I said, I can't do this. I'm not going to stay up here. So I went the next day. I went to coaches that I didn't want to play there. I was going to go back home. I didn't coach or something. I don't.
Yeah.
I told them I said
That's what
I didn't get cut. I quit.
Yeah.
Actually. Well, I told them I was going home, and they told me, said, well, they tried to talk me. Actually, tried to talk me out of it. Said I was doing pretty well, and of course I was probably one of the biggest linemen they had at the time back then. You know, 265, 270 was a big lineman. 240 and 245, 50, something like that. Some of them were bigger, but not many.
I remember you telling me that you didn't get cut. You just went home.
Yeah, that last one, yeah. And then I think I still look back and think, you know, I had a really good shot at making that team. You know, because I'd had the experience from Dallas and stuff, and I would block them. You know, as big as they were, and it just, I don't know, I just couldn't live up there. And you know, the city now, Dallas wasn't too bad. We had really nice, we played motels. You know, there we weren't.
Yeah.
But it was a different setting, and I never knew where I was at from the day when I got there until I left. And they told me they were going to take my signing bonus money and stuff away and all that. But, and trying to get me to stay, but they did.
Yeah.
They still gave it to me. I didn't know they had to, but well, then come back, and I just kind of got tired of messing around with it. You know? Yeah. And I had a chance to play for the New Jersey Generals. They started that World Football League.
Yes, sir.
I had a chance to go play for the New Jersey Generals and went down to the mini camp. That was my first year coaching and teaching at Marion County. I left Marion County, and I can't remember when the training camp was. I think they were playing at a different time, so it might have been in January, February. They flew me down to Florida for camp and mini camp for about a week, and I went down there and ran through drills and stuff with them, and then come back and then told them that if I got back home, I was supposed to go back for camp that summer or that spring. I told them I wasn't coming out. I was done.
Yeah. Didn't Donald Trump own the New Jersey Generals?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
I didn't know who he was then, but I think you're
nobody
exactly
did
right.
back then.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. He's one on them. Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your coaching career when you came back here to Evanston County?
Well, I actually come back to Marion County when I quit playing football and gave up pro football. I come back to Marion County with Coach Hopkins you talked about earlier. He was the football coach up there. And actually, I'll come back. I can't remember what time time of year was I went to work on the tugboat on the Ohio River for a little while. And that was before New York. After I got in Dallas, that was before New York Jets called me when we come up there. But then that was when my towboat career ended after I left out there and went to the Jets and come back. And then Coach Hopkins was a basketball coach up there. And he called me and if I'd be interested in coming up and teaching biology at St. Charles Junior High outside of Marion County, outside of Lebanon. And I went up and coached up there for a year with Coach Hopkins football. They had some good players. We had some of those players that I coached that year went on to play Division I football. That were really, really good. Had a good team, but we played Fort Knox and all of those who had good teams also. So I went there the next year. Grayson County's football coach Bill Embry. I was talking to him, and he went for 5 years in Grayson County. Well, that was closer to home. Grayson County's 15 minutes north of where I live in Beach Spring. And I thought, well, y'all just went to the playoffs and won like 15 games, and I don't know if they wound up winning the state championship or got second.
They got Final Four, I believe that year.
Yeah, I said, dang, y'all got it going on down there at Grayson County. Y'all got a good team. I'll leave Marion County, and when I had to pay rent, I'd stay at home for a while, make some money, save a little. So I come back and went to Grayson County, but he didn't tell me they graduated like 17 seniors off that football team last year. And of course the kids couldn't help it. They were really young. I think we had maybe 1 or 2 seniors is all we had next year. And took some thumpings and beatings. And then after that, they had an opening in Evanston County for a biology job. I guess Mr. Love was like retired, and I come in and took her spot. Maybe not Mr. Love, but Mr. Cook maybe.
Yeah, Mr. Cook.
Mr. Cook retired. And I come in and took his place, teaching science and biology, and coaching my brother Ed, which was Evanston County's coach for a while, and coached with him for a while, and then went on and got my principal certification and all that, become assistant principal, and then principal at Phi Sigma Center until I finally retired. So been around.
Did you always feel like you wanted to come back here to Evanston County and eventually was that your goal?
Yeah. Once you get away, it wasn't like no other place was like home.
Exactly.
Evanston County is home. I didn't mind. I didn't mind living in Texas for a while. I didn't mind it because that's Texas. That's the Cowboys. That's where rodeos and stuff right
there.
Right. All that.
Yes.
So that was one of the big things on my mind.
Yes, sir.
And they brought me in when they brought us in for mini camp. We stayed in the Hilton, everyday Hilton there downtown somewhere. I didn't know what was there either. Anyhow, and I walked around the corner, looked on the room, and it said Pamela Ewing Suite. Was about 3 doors down from me. Yeah, Dallas was a big show going on back in the early 80s.
It was.
And that was Pamela Ewing Suite that said on the door. So I knew who that was, and I'd seen some of them shows.
Yeah.
I thought, well, this is pretty good. Of course, I've watched Dallas play too. But this more, it didn't look nothing like New York did. New York, I could go the building, I could tell which way was north, south, or east, or west. So time I was up there.
I've got to tell you exactly what you told me one time. I asked you about that. You told me that you would have loved to have played for the Cowboys, but you wasn't going to stay in New York. That place was a zoo.
No,
that's what you said. That's what you told me.
For me, a country boy like me from Beach Spring, we've never been in the stoplight around Evanston County.
Right.
You go up there and just honk, honk, beep, beep. Get out of the way, honk, honk, beep, lights blinking. And I just, of course, I was, I don't know, I guess I was pretty naive back in those days.
I've got to share 2 things that this man said down through my years. Okay? I was a freshman in high school, and he said this one day. I've always given him credit for it. If you have to talk yourself into being somewhere that you probably shouldn't be, it's a bad idea and you don't need to be there. And now I'll tell you what, that has kept me out of a lot of trouble down through the years of my life. Now, I won't say that I've 100% always stuck to that, but that has popped in my head probably 100 times down through the years.
I wish I'd known that before I told you that.
Now, the second thing that he said, this man came back. He coached football, played football. When I was football coach, my second year, he came back and helped me because I needed help, and he came back and helped me. We're standing in the Muhlenberg South visitors locker room, and he didn't say this to me. This is something that every kid that plays in this county should hear. He said, when y'all go out there tonight, y'all need to remember, you're not just playing for yourself. You're playing for your teammates. You're playing for your mom and daddy. You're playing for your brother and sister, your grandparents, and everybody back home, everybody in the county. He said, if you're just playing for you, it's easy to lay down and quit. When you think about the fact that you're playing for everybody, you won't lay down and quit. And every kid ought to hear that. And this man said that, and I've never forgot that.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. I just always been true blue Edmondson County. I've always loved it here.
Yes,
if I'm
sir.
still here, I don't have to live here. I could live anywhere I wanted to. But always enjoyed going to school here, even through elementary and junior high. And and I wasn't always the best student or best person I should have been, but still, it's even don't know where I knew I was going to come back here.
Yes, sir.
I like to end. We're going to end it off here in a few minutes. Where we went for an hour and 11 minutes. We've got to talk about a lot of great things. Something I love to ask someone who's played or coached is it's a two-part question. Give some advice that you would give to a younger athlete, and then give some advice you would give to a younger man or woman who is going into coaching.
Okay. Well, for the younger athletes, live in the weight room. Been in those sports. I don't care if you're basketball, baseball, football. Live in the weight room. Like my son, if Cody's legs have been a little bit stronger, he might not do that ACL and ligaments out. But you got to do that now. You got to. Everybody else is. All the other schools, you'll see them kids. They're in the weight room. They're lifting weights. If you're going to play sports, and it's not a bad idea. It's a lifelong thing that you can do for yourself. You know what I mean? You can stay in the weight room, stay in shape, and going to help you down the road as far as that's concerned. Yeah. And that would be my advice for them. And of course, you're going to be practicing, and you're going to have coaches, and you're going to have all that. Just listen to your coaches, and live in the weight room. That's the key nowadays. Because there's a big difference when you're out there playing a football game and you can squat 750 pounds versus somebody that squat 200.
Yes,
They ain't got a chance.
Yeah.
I've been in both positions, and believe me, I know. Yeah, believe me, I know. And the other question was
advice to a younger man or woman getting into coaching.
Well, it's a wonderful thing coaching is, because you get to work with people that really love to play the sport. They wouldn't be there. Football, especially football, it's a tough sport to play.
Yeah.
You're there in the summertime. It's 105 degrees outside, and you still got all them clothes on, practicing, and a helmet. And basketball, you're running yourself up and down the court. Just got to make sure that you really like it. That's one of the key things. Make sure you like what you're doing and enjoy it. Make sure you enjoy the sport you're playing. Of course, it makes it a little more fun if you're winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in order to do coaching and get into coaching, and remember, it's not all about X's and O's. Anybody can do X's and O's on board. Okay, it's about how you can motivate students, and these students are a little different. I don't care what they say, you can't treat them all the same.
Nope.
You can't treat them all the same. Me, when I played, you jump on me and shoot me out, I'm probably going to go in the shell and probably not going to give the effort I would have given in the other times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you just told me what to do and what was going on, and hey, I feel you're not, what's going on? You're not putting out the effort I seen you put out before. Maybe, I knew something wasn't going right, but maybe that's what it is. Instead of somebody chewing you out, and yelling and screaming and hollering and stuff is not, necessary. I just don't see the reason behind that anymore. You can't motivate your kids to play play without that kind of yelling and screaming and hollering at them all the time. It's just, you know, it was like people talking about playing for Bo Davenport. The report on him was that he was a really hard coach to play for, and everybody asked me lots of times, how was it playing for him? And he was a really tough coach. I said, I like playing for him. I mean, he made fuss and stuff, but he doesn't fuss at you individually. Yeah, he never picked us out as an individual. You don't pick the kids out as the individuals. They're either going to give you the effort to play or not. And you got to remember, it's a game. How many people get to go to the next level and play? Not many. So you got to realize it's still. I'll go and watch my nephews and some of them play, or their kids play little league baseball stuff. They have the ball, and their parents are not on about, you got to do this or you got to do that. Let them play. Let them have fun. It's supposed to be fun at that age. Yeah. And even got now with college level, it's not. You either winning or your coaches are going, so they're on you more. So I don't know. It's we got people got to remember it's a game. Yeah. And that's something I always thought, even when I coached. I'd have probably been a lot better off coaching if I hadn't thought that way. Yeah. Because I then Brian can remember, I never was going to jump on and get to and people out. Because, if you can't, I don't know how that's supposed to motivate.
He was very much like you talked about his college coach.
Yeah.
If you needed to be corrected, he could correct you as sternly as he needed to. But when it was over, we'd be over there talking about horses. And back then, we'd liable to sit down up there and talk for 15, 20 minutes after practice was over. And I have some of my greatest memories are the times, the down times, when we weren't just talking about the.
And when the game's over, the game's over. You talk about your brother Jason. Jason played for me when I coached high school basketball. Yes. Of course, we weren't very good. Okay, I'll just be honest with you. Jason was decent, and Terry Gunner played for us, and he was pretty decent. And we just good football players up, and not a lot of real basketball skill. And we didn't win a lot of games that year. But when the game was over, it's over. We'd come back from a basketball game, freshman. We come back from a basketball game. Jason, he'd be singing to us, and everybody'd be happy.
Yeah. Long line of singers right there.
Yeah, he would sing songs all the way home, whether we won, lost, or got beat.
Right.
And, I wouldn't want to go something, sit there and shut up over a basketball game, freshman getting beat. They gave effort. They gave all the effort they could. And yelling and screaming and hollering wasn't going to improve their effort, So
I want to say this, Joe. This man's choice to come back to Edmonson County and coach and teach, he's had a tremendous impact on a lot of people's lives. You can talk to a lot of guys out there. He had such a great impact. His family. I know his whole family. We can sit here and have a whole nother show on Edridge.
Yeah.
But me and Phil won't go into that today.
We don't go into too much.
But I mean,
him or me either.
Right. But this guy right here he's made a tremendous impact as a teacher, as a principal, as a coach, and as a person for a lot of people in Edmonson County. And I want him to know how much I love him.
Well,
Appreciate it. Thank you.
If we're both out of questions and things to say, I think we'll wrap it up here.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow we have our second episode of the Legends Week for Edmonson County. We will be joined by Larry Starnes at 1 p.m. And this guy on the very left, Brian, he's welcome to join me as co-host again. I think it'll be a great time. He's going to hopefully join me all week. We're going to try to do this a lot this summer, meet with some of these great athletes who played at Edmonson County. Thank you for all the people who tuned in and watched. Remember, you can go back and watch and share after the show's over. It's a great way to get it out a little more. I want to thank once again our amazing sponsors for sponsoring this and letting it happen. I want to say God bless everyone. Have a great rest of the day, and tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m.